Indiana schools suspended more students after the pandemic than at any point in the prior decade. I'm Lee Gaines. I'm an investigative reporter on WFYI's education desk.
And I'm Dylan Pierce-McCoy. I'm also an investigative reporter on the education desk.
Dylan and I spent months reporting on the increase in suspensions and the consequences for students. Dylan, what did you learn about why students are getting suspended?
WFYI obtained data from the Indiana Department of Education that shows fighting is the top reason for suspensions. Fighting is up 20% since the school year before the pandemic. But fighting can mean lots of things. We spoke to high schoolers who were suspended for planning and filming fights. And we spoke to the parents of elementary schoolers who were suspended for playground conflicts. And we know some kids are suspended far more often than others.
That's right. Black students experienced 3 times the number of suspensions last school year as compared to their white peers. And students with disabilities were suspended more than twice as often as students without disabilities.
We spoke with educators about what's going on in their classrooms and why they think suspensions are up. They all had similar answers. They think student behavior is worse after the pandemic. Students are more disruptive and more violent.
And these educators told us that they need to suspend students to keep classrooms safe and to protect the learning environment for other students and staff. But everyone we spoke to also agrees that suspensions don't actually help kids.
Suspensions can have devastating consequences for students. They reduce their chances of graduating high school and increase their involvement in the criminal justice system. The other problem is suspensions don't address the root cause of student behavior. For kids who don't like school, suspensions can feel like a reward.
So we know that suspensions don't work. What actually does help remedy student behavior? All the experts we spoke to say that educators and parents need to work together to identify what's triggering misbehavior in the classroom and then come up with a plan to address it. On a very basic level, experts say educators need to build relationships with their students because that's going to help their behavior in the long term.
Yeah. We spoke to a 3rd grader who's been suspended 15 times since kindergarten. She recently switched schools, and she feels like her new teachers really understand her. She hasn't been suspended since moving to the new school. And I think that really speaks to the importance of relationships.
Yeah, but building relationships takes a lot of time. And schools are dealing with many different challenges right now, including trying to hire enough qualified staff. So the educators that we talked to told us they don't want to suspend kids, but sometimes that's the only option they have.
The state hasn't made reducing suspensions a priority. Indiana's School Accountability Dashboard doesn't even include suspension data. That makes it difficult for parents and policymakers to evaluate which schools are suspending students most frequently.
And that's why we wanted to report on this issue, to bring attention to something that's affecting thousands of students, their families, and schools across the state.
For more of Lee and I's reporting on suspensions, visit WFYI.org.